Good evening. My name is Justin Devine, and I'm presenting this for my public theology project for theology and pop culture at Fuller Theological Seminary. My topic today is on celebrity fandom and particularly centering around the death of Hulk Hogan. A little over 3 weeks ago, I learned of the news of the death of the immortal Hulk Hogan. Equally as significant is the fact that the man who portrayed him, Terry Bollea, had also died. Hogan's death has led to a litany of responses throughout news media over the past several weeks. As expected, wrestling podcasts and sites such as NoDQ.com, Cultaholic, Wrestling with Regret, and Conrad Thompson have all taken to the task of mourning, celebrating, and questioning the legacy of Hogan. Perhaps more impressively, mainstream sports media such as Rich Eisen, Dan Patrick, Bomani Jones, and Nick Wright also all took a stab at the topic, as well as the major news outlets Fox, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Virtually every outlet celebrated the Hulkster's contribution to the entertainment product that is professional wrestling. However, it was a coin flip as to how people addressed the last 10 years of Bolea's life. For me personally, I grew up a Hulkamaniac. I should mention that my wife and I entered our wedding reception dressed in the Hulk Hogan tearaway shirt, did the poses, and entered to the Real American theme song. So I cried on several occasions over the first couple days after his death as I processed the death of one of the true heroes of my childhood. The last celebrity death that made me cry was my favorite baseball player of all time, Kirby Puckett, back in 2006. I will admit it was incredibly difficult for me to navigate the conversations surrounding the last 10 years of Bolea's life. He was caught on a sex tape with his wife's best friend using the N word on several occasions. He won a lawsuit for defamation over the release of that tape. He apologized to a locker room full of wrestlers by telling them to be careful what they say in front of the cameras, and even admitted to being racist to a point. Then he actively campaigned for Donald Trump in the Hulk Hogan persona during the 2024 presidential election, calling the president his hero. In fact, his wrestling style promo on that night probably goes down as the loudest pop uh, in either of the convention weekends. Yet, in early 2025, when Monday Night Raw debuted on Netflix, he was essentially booed out of the building in Los Angeles. Now, celebrity fandom is a massive part of our American culture. We've got Swifties, Deadheads, Stans, and Moonwalkers who all even have their own Wikipedia pages. Yet, as Christians, I wonder how far is too far to go in our celebrity fandom? And how do we deal with the complex issues that celebrity behavior is not always in line with gospel oriented behavior? For me, you'd be hard pressed to find a bigger sports fan and bigger Hulkamaniac. I remember every VHS tape I rented at Video City in Grand Forks, North Dakota. My cousins and I would watch, and we all had our favorites. My cousins were older, so they preferred Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage, but I was a Hulkamaniac through and through. I remember where I was when I watched WrestleManias 5, 6, 7, and 9, with Hogan winning the title at 5, 7, and 9 and losing it to the Warrior at WrestleMania 6. I remember my excitement when he debuted in WCW in 1994 and my outrage when he turned heel at Bash at the Beach in 1996, forming the NWO. All of these events are distinct memories from my childhood. I wasn't just a fan of Hogan, though. I grew up a Minnesota Twins fan and a Green Bay Packer fan as well. Kirby Puckett and Brett Favre were certainly childhood heroes of mine. I can recall every game of the '91 World Series, the greatest fall classic of all time. I can tell you who was in the room when Favre hit Andre Rison for a touchdown in the first quarter of Super Bowl 31, and how mad my stepdad was when Chris Jackie made a field goal that would have put him up 17 instead of 14, and he would have covered a bet he had with a coworker. In the sports I played the most, basketball, tennis, and golf, I was fans of Michael Jordan, Andre Agassi, and Tiger Woods. I know where I was when so many of those '90s finals games took place. I lost my mind when Andre won the US Open in 1999, and I watched every hole of the Tiger Slam. There's a beauty in sports that I love, and I have core memories of pure joy attached to every one of these men. However, each of these men is deeply Puckett was accused of sexual assault, domestic abuse, and had multiple affairs. Favre was addicted to painkillers, sent lewd photos to female members of the media, and is now embroiled in the Mississippi welfare scandal. Jordan has had one of the most well-known gambling addictions this side of Phil Mickelson. Tiger had a network of affairs, misused prescription drugs, and an obsession with Navy SEALs that nearly cost him his golfing career. Even in an era where television wants us to believe in the anti-hero, the heroes from my childhood don't feel all that heroic. Hogan, however, is probably the most complicated for me to process. Hogan was a character who taught us the 4 commandments: saying our prayers, training, eating our vitamins, and believing in ourselves. As far as celebrity models go, that's pretty strong. Then, in the midst of all of that scandal later in life, the man, Terry Bollea, was baptized a Christian and has several recordings of his personal need for salvation in Jesus Christ. However, he also never publicly apologized for using the N-word in that video. Simultaneously sinner and saint is something that I believe is the case for all Christians. Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan personified that to the fullest. How can someone who brought so much joy, also inflict so much pain? I'll close by using a phrase I say a lot. People are complicated. It's our nature to be good and bad, and often unpredictably so. Celebrities are no different. This is why it is paramount to orient our faith toward Jesus Christ, and be careful not to put our hope in anyone who is not Jesus, because they will inevitably fail you. I don't think that I'm a Hulkamaniac anymore, but I will always be a Christian. Thanks for listening.